Hey everybody, Reefgrrl here, and welcome to my channel. This video will be about some decisions I have to make to get started on my new build. Before we get to the details, I would love it if you haven't already if you'd subscribe to my channel, and while you're over there, hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything. While I'm talking, I'm showing you mollywood. A lot of these corals will be going into the new tank, and this is just a tiny bit of a tour to show you how well they're doing. I often neglect mollywood, but it doesn't seem to be suffering any, so whatever's happening right now, I'm just going to roll with it. I'm starting with the most basic of decisions. What should the footprint be for this tank? I've talked about 72 by 48, but 72 is going to be too wide, so I have to look at other options. We got to work with some craft paper, some green frog tape, a couple of Sharpies, and a garage floor. Out here on the garage floor is the outline in green tape of a 12-foot 3 by 10-foot room. This represents my new fish room. This is built as a bedroom, but I've asked the builder to take the closet, turn it into an alcove, and add plumbing for a sink. I need to get my head around the mass of this thing. Originally, I planned on a 72-inch wide tank. However, in a 10-foot space, that only leaves 2 feet on either side. Not enough to move around, so I had to look at a different footprint. This is the back wall. The tank will be approximately 1 foot away, leaving some space for me to work back there if I ever needed to get in. Didn't have that luxury in the last tank, and I was determined to have it this time. So we're going to create a couple of templates and lay them on the floor and just get a sense of what it looks like. Here's the blueprint that shows the location of the room within the house. It's right inside the front door. Alright, imagination time. These 2 pieces of wood represent doors. There's a set of double doors that go into this room from the hallway. One dimension I've already decided on is the height of the tank, 21 inches deep. That's it. I can't reach the bottom of anything more than that. So here's a template for a 60 by 60. This calculates to 327 gallons. This placement puts it 2 feet from the front wall and leaves me 3 feet on the other side to work in to get access to my alcove. If I went with a 6-foot tank, I would only have 2 feet here. It would be very, very tight. So 60 seems to be a good compromise here. With displacement and the fact that 21 inches of glass does not mean 21 inches of water, the actual water volume in here will be less than 327 gallons, probably somewhere closer to 300. The other footprint I'm considering is 60 by 66. This calculates out to about 360 gallons. With displacement, I would for sure have at least 300 actual gallons of water. And the beauty of that extra 6 inches is it doesn't take up a whole lot more space in the room. Here we are back at our doors, and you can see that there's still a pretty good distance between the front of the door when it's straight open and the front of the tank. Lots of room to move around. So that extra 6 inches gives me the extra gallons of water to reach my target without being too overwhelming in this room. At this point, I'm tending towards the 60 by 66. However, we are talking about allowing a bit of extra space between the back of the tank and the back wall. It never hurts to have a little bit more room than you think you need, because eventually something's going to happen where I am going to be glad to have that extra space, even if it is only a few inches. So I still haven't decided, but I have to make a decision pretty soon or I'm never going to get this thing ordered. Visualizing the footprint based on a template is one thing. Visualizing the actual mass of the tank upright is another. So now we need a simulation of what the stand with the tank on top might look like. Of course, this looks nothing like it, but it gives me an idea of how high it's going to be and the mass of it when walking into the room. As luck would have it, these styrofoam packing boxes are exactly 42 inches high, which is what I'm planning for the stand, and the blue box is exactly 21 inches high. We've set them up so that side to side it's 60 inches. So with the stand being 42 inches and the tank being 21 inches, that's 63, which is just about the middle of my forehead. It's also, in my opinion, a perfect viewing height. You can look at it standing up or sitting down. And that was something I was aiming for. I really dislike having to bend over all the time to look into my tank. I would much prefer to be able to look as straight in as possible. The stand itself will not be solid. I'm not planning on cladding it with anything. I'm hoping to get a steel stand, and originally I had planned on aluminum T-slot, but it's going to be just too expensive. It's hard to get here in Canada, and I want to incorporate a walkway around the bottom built onto the stand. I'm not sure whether that can be done with the aluminum T-slot system. So steel, might not be black steel though. I'm looking at something a little different than that, and completely open under the tank. So it should look a lot less massive than what we're looking at right here. I'm glad we went through this exercise because it has helped me start to visualize the actual size of this thing. Whether I go with 60 by 60 or 60 by 66, there are a lot of other decisions I have to make. And I can only make those decisions by talking to the people who are going to build and install the aquarium. The next thing I have to do is sit down and write a list of questions. Those questions will lead me to some sort of a design of the overflow, how things are going to work with the sump. So many things to decide yet, and I am going to need help. So if anybody has any hints and tips, I'll be happy to hear them. If you've been through this process before, basically starting from scratch, let me know what you think. Any advice is welcome. Thanks so much for watching. As always, I really do appreciate it. And stay tuned. There's more to come.